Women don't fall for the men who want them. They fall for the men who refuse to choose them. They don't crave the ones who stay, they crave the ones who walk away. And they don't obsess over the men they can have. They obsess over the men they can't control. Before we go deeper, hit subscribe and like the video. This is DepthRealm, where we expose the shadows so you can see the truth. Modern women deny this truth. They argue, moralize, intellectualize, and pretend they've evolved past ancient instincts. But every woman alive is governed by a brutal psychological law that shapes her attraction, her choices, her heartbreak, and ultimately her downfall. Scarcity increases desire. Availability kills it. Women don't want the man who stands in front of them. They want the man who stands above them. The man out of reach. The man they have to earn. The man they cannot easily decode, influence, or secure. This isn't emotional. It isn't romantic. It's evolutionary. Women weren't programmed to pursue comfort. They were programmed to pursue challenge. In ancient times, challenge signaled superior genetics. The man all women wanted was the man who kept himself selective. But today, that same instinct pushes women toward emotional self-destruction. Toward men who drain them, confuse them, abandon them, and never commit. Hypergamy didn't just distort the dating market. It rewired female desire into a self-inflicted trap. Women aren't rejecting good men. They're rejecting emotional peace. They don't crave the stable man. They crave the man who is desired by other women. They don't crave the loyal man. They crave the man who doesn't need them. They don't crave the available man. They crave the man whose attention is scarce, whose presence is unpredictable, whose validation is intermittent. Because scarcity feels like value. Because inconsistency feels like chemistry. Because unpredictability feels like intensity. And because the men they can't have trigger the three most powerful psychological switches inside a woman: the competition instinct, the validation instinct, and the attachment wound. And the moment those three fire at the same time, she's gone. Lost. Hooked. Addicted. The competition instinct tells her that if other women desire him, he must be high value. She isn't choosing love. She's choosing perceived social proof. The validation instinct tells her that if she can earn a selective man's attention, she has proven her worth. And the attachment wound convinces her that emotional instability is passion, because it mirrors the chaos she grew up with. Women raised on unpredictability mistake it for love. Pain becomes home, and home becomes addiction. Emma is 28. Beautiful, educated, magnetic. She becomes obsessed with a man who never texts first. He disappears for days, then returns with just enough warmth to keep her waiting. He isn't the best man she's met. He's the most inconsistent. And inconsistency hijacks her nervous system. She doesn't love him. She's addicted to the uncertainty he provides. Sophie, 31, ignores stable men in her messages but falls headfirst into a situationship with a man who's dating multiple women. It isn't love, it's competition. She wants to win him not because he's good, but because other women want him too. She mistakes validation for connection. And hypergamy leads her straight into heartbreak. Nicole, 34, leaves her boyfriend because she believes she can do better. When he begs, she feels nothing. When he goes silent, she spirals. When he moves on, she becomes obsessed. Not with him, but with the power she lost. She doesn't miss the man. She misses the version of herself who felt valuable. This is where the collapse begins. Women constantly desire men they cannot have, while overlooking the men who would actually love them. They reject stability because stability doesn't activate their wounds. A wounded nervous system always chooses chaos over healing. Hypergamy doesn't guide her upward. It drags her into emotional loops that worsen as she ages. As time passes, something cruel happens. The men she once ignored now have options. The men she once rejected now reject her. The men she expected would chase now avoid her. And the men she assumed would return have replaced her. Hypergamy promised endless choices. Time delivered scarcity. Scarcity delivered regret. A stable man, consistent, present, loyal, is called boring. The unpredictable man is called the one that got away. Yet the ROI is obvious. The stable man invests in her. The unpredictable man drains her. The stable man brings peace. The unpredictable man brings chaos. The stable man wants a future. The unpredictable man wants attention. And still, she chases the chaos until the chaos chooses someone younger. Women don't lose because of men. They lose because of misaligned instincts. They desire challenge but need stability. They crave scarcity but require consistency. They want validation from the man who gives them the least of it. Hypergamy turns against them as they get older, when their options shrink but their desire for high-value men grows. It is a psychological mismatch with a biological deadline. The awakening moment is brutal. Women eventually realize they weren't addicted to the man. They were addicted to the emotional roller coaster he created. They weren't chasing him. They were chasing a feeling. The feeling of winning someone who didn't need them. The feeling of proving their worth. The feeling of being chosen by someone selective. The feeling of healing a wound through another person. But no one heals through addiction. They only break. And the day she wakes up is the day she realizes she no longer recognizes herself. She sees the version of her before him, brighter, happier, more complete. She reads old journal entries and sees a woman who didn't live in anxiety. She realizes she wasn't in love. She was in withdrawal. She wasn't attached. She was chemically dependent. And she didn't lose the man. She lost herself. Women don't become obsessed with men who treat them well. Good men are consistent, predictable, reliable. They don't trigger adrenaline. They don't activate emotional panic. They don't create biochemical storms. They create peace. And peace feels boring to women raised on psychological chaos. They sabotage good men because good men don't match their emotional blueprint. Not because they want pain, but because pain feels familiar. But addiction always ends in collapse. Her self-worth shrinks. Her standards dissolve. Her identity crumbles. She apologizes for things she shouldn't. She accepts things she shouldn't. She blames herself for things she didn't cause. She lowers the bar until she can no longer see it. She stays because the memory of the high is stronger than the reality of the low. Women don't get addicted to men. They get addicted to the emotional volatility men create. Remove the volatility and the addiction dies. Remove the unpredictability and the obsession dissolves. Remove the chaos and the fantasy ends. The addiction was never about him. It was about the chemicals he triggered, the void he filled, the wounds he activated, and the chase she turned into identity. The day she chooses peace over excitement, clarity over chaos, consistency over volatility, the addiction breaks. She stops confusing instability for passion. She stops confusing anxiety for attachment. She stops confusing self-destruction for love. And once she learns the difference, she never returns. See the pattern. Protect your energy. This is DepthRealm.